Welcome back to Spike P Gaming, where today we're going to be looking at the tracker I made for the Black Ops 6 challenge, Box Addict, as well as the patch Treyarch pushed out to fix the mystery box drop rates. We'll cover how the spreadsheet works for tracking your challenge progress, how I tested the drop rates, the data results that followed, and what conclusions we can draw from the results. I'm an AP statistics teacher, and today we're mostly looking at data collection methodology and confounding variables that could have possibly impacted our results. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Please like and subscribe if you do, and let me know your thoughts and questions down in the comments below. First things first, here's the challenge tracker that I made. In order to use it, you just have to hit the box and hit the check mark for the appropriate weapon that comes out. You only have to mark new weapons. Anything that you get multiple times, you can just ignore the spreadsheet for those. In the portion that's frozen on the side, it will give you two things. One, it'll give you the count of how many weapons you have pulled so far from the box, as well as it will give you a nice and easy to read progress bar that will show you how far into the challenge you are. Everything will turn green once you have hit that magical point. If you want to just keep hitting the box to see what you can see when you get almost all of the weapons. Now, you'll probably notice as you're looking at it that there are more weapons on the spreadsheet than there are in the box. This is in case you are maybe doing it later on, and those weapons are actually new, and you have the ability to get, say, the Essex out of the box, because I don't think it is added to the box yet. It probably will be at the end of Season 4 would be my guess when we start into Season 5. So, click on the link down below to download a copy of this tracker and give it a shot. Let me know what you think of it. If you tried the tracker out, please let me know in the comments. If there's anything that you really like about it, any things that you think might be improved on it, let me know. I would love to take a look at getting it updated even more. I've found I really enjoyed making this tracker, and probably going to start making some more for different aspects of the game. Now, on to the mystery box data. In the previous video on this topic, we tackled whether or not the mystery box was coded differently in directed mode versus standard mode, which it seemed was not the case. This time around, I'm going to go ahead and assume that the two are the same and that they didn't change that around, with one exception. I don't believe you can get the Ray Gun Mark II out of the box in directed mode. Both of my games of directed mode, where I hit the box 300 times in this case and over 300 times in the previous video, I never got the Mark II. Whereas, in both of my standard games, I got the Mark II pretty early on. In fact, it's probably one of the major things where I would say there is a bit of confounding going on, is I hit the box, Mark II popped up, and I took it. And it immediately became my secondary. I pack-punched it. I didn't leave it in the box. And this is one area where my data could probably be improved. But my ultimate goal was to make it to around 50 on this testing. And if the Mark II pops up more often or not, I think most people are never going to find out, because the first time it comes up, they're going to grab it. So, in order to do this testing, I went into a game of directed mode, I got to round 11, and I hit the box 300 times so that my data would look similar to that previous video, and also so I wouldn't anger my newborn and wife for playing so long. So, then, after that, I went into a standard game, and I hit the box every 5 rounds, 10 times. There was only one round where this got messed up, and you'll see on the screen a clip that was a short on my channel here a while ago, where a abomination spawned in, and my game lagged so bad. I teleported to the other side of the map, teleported back, and I ended up just panic killing the entire horde. I stopped thinking about the fact that I was trying to keep one zombie alive. It's one annoying thing about being online all the time, but fix that in the sheet. I just changed it to say round 16 and reflect the fact that I did not hit the box on round 15 for those ones. For this, also another bit of confounding, and we'll define confounding here in a second. I had two different start weapons for my directed mode and my standard gameplay. For the directed mode, I started with and kept the Goblin AR the entire time. For my standard mode, I played with the Maelstrom, and I did this for a few reasons. One, I was really close on getting the headshots done for it, and I am a sucker for a good challenge, and I really want to get to my maximum camo level on all my weapons, so I ended up using it for that reason. Another reason was in my directed mode gameplay, it seemed like I was consistently getting the Maelstrom over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I wanted to see that if I just held the gun, would it balance out the mystery box? Is this mildly flawed from a statistical stance? Yes. But then it worked in the data, so further testing would be necessary to find out exactly what's going on. But as soon as I dropped the Maelstrom and picked up the Thunder Gun, I got the Maelstrom the next hit from the box. But overall, looking at my data, I didn't get the Maelstrom nearly as often. In my directed mode gameplay, it was about 7% of the time I got the Maelstrom. In my standard mode, it was only about 4% of the time, I think. So as we're looking at it, it seemed to work out. Now, could this all be described by randomness, that if everything is equally likely, say you have a dice and you roll it 100 times, could you get more sixes than you were supposed to? Yeah, it could happen. You would need to do it over and over and over again until you saw whether or not it was truly a problem. And that's when you would say, oh, it's a loaded die. We're not doing that here. This is just a very brief overview, kind of giving you the tools that if you wanted to test this out yourself, you could do that and see kind of what the rates are for your weapons. But real quick, let's define this word that I keep throwing around. Definition: confounding occurs when two variables are associated in such a way that their effects on a response variable cannot be distinguished from one another. So, confounding variables tend to be what lead to sayings like correlation does not equal causation. Now, this is a very useful tool, that saying. I'm not a huge fan of it because I feel like it tends to also be the tool of, hey, that's a decent point and I don't like it, so toss it. Correlation is usually a really great point to start the conversation of, hey, maybe something's going on. We need to do some more research here. Now, how does confounding and this work? So, for instance, why do more people die by drowning whenever a Nick Cage movie comes out? Now, there could be a conspiracy going on where Nick is just out drowning people as a sacrifice to make his movie succeed. But is that super likely? Could there maybe be other factors like, hey, Nick Cage movies tend to come out in the summer when more people are swimming. So if more people are swimming, there's a certain percentage of people who are probably going to drown if you're out swimming. And especially in the summer, you're going to have people who aren't swimmers, who aren't very good at swimming, who are out swimming. So that's probably going to go up. Now, you would have to do more research. This is where that's a possible confounding, that there's another variable that could be impacting it. In this case, the time of year, the weather. You would have to do more research there and look at data and see if that's true. Now, in my data, did I get the Maelstrom less because I was holding it for much of the game? Or is it possible that the developers prioritized it in the directed mode in order to help newer players? Or is this just a case of random things behaving randomly, and this was just all up to chance? We often cry confounding variable when we find ourselves in a situation where it would be extremely hard to prove one way or another what truly happened. In this case, the way to control for confounding variables around the Maelstrom's drop rate would be to play again with a different weapon and see if all of a sudden the Maelstrom takes over the box again. But that wouldn't even be enough. We would need to do this over and over again, probably 20 games of play with the Maelstrom as a starting weapon for 25, play with something else as the starting weapon for 25, and compare the results. This would be awesome. I would love to do it. But this would need to become something where I can do it as full time and make money off of videos like this in order to justify that. If you would like to help me with that, please hit that subscribe button and like the video and comment below. Now, overall, in both matches, the most common thing to happen was that the box moved. In directed mode, it moved about 13% of the time. In the standard mode, it only moved about 10.9% of the time, but in reality, that's pretty close. This is on par with how the box behaved in my previous testing, so I don't think they adjusted the volatility of the box's movement. Otherwise, the new box patch changed the drop rates pretty significantly. Before the patch, I was getting the same weapons over and over again, to the point to where there was about a 40% chance that when I hit the box, I would get either the Tanto 22, the GS 45s, the Jackal PDW, or the Marine SP. That was in my original testing. In my standard mode testing that I just did, it would take the top 11 most popular weapons to get to the same percentage of box hits. So, in my opinion, it looks like they did balance out the box pretty significantly. In both gameplays, almost all of the weapons were under 4%, with the exception of the Maelstrom in the directed mode, which peaked at 7% of the time. This helped with balancing of getting weapons out of the box overall, and subjectively made hitting the box significantly nicer. I didn't find myself frustratedly yelling at the screen, quietly trying not to wake up my son, "Are you kidding me? Why is the Tanto back again?" It happened so much. I got so sick of seeing the Tanto. Post-patch, it's not happening. I'm not getting the same weapons over and over again. Now, with that said, what I did notice post-patch is that when I would hit the box, there were 7 times where I got the TR2. Hit the box, I got the TR2. That happened 7 times where I got the same weapon back to back. This only happened once in the pre-patch gameplay. But what did happen more often in the pre-patch gameplay is I would hit the box and I would get a gun, say the Tanto. I would then hit the box and get the GS45. I would then hit the box and get the Tanto again, and this would happen over and over again, to the point where I didn't even want to go in and count situations where this happened in the data. Now, round 11 directed mode, I had 41 unique outcomes in this original testing video from last time. I'll link it at the end of the video if you want to go watch it, because we talk more about chi-squared distributions, which are a huge thing on the AP stats test. Compare that to 54 post-patch. So there was a 32% increase in the number of items that I got in the box, or out of the box, in the post-patch data. So across the standard mode, kind of very similar story. Pre-patch, 29 weapons. Post-patch, 42. So in the standard gameplay, where I only hit the box 100 times, I got more weapons than in the directed mode, where I hit it 300 times pre-patch. So that 29 to 42, that's a 45% increase. So this is great. Now, one area where I did notice that there seemed to be a decrease was in the number of melee weapons. And not really the number of melee weapons, the variety of them. As I was playing through the pre-patch, I feel like I got a lot of weapons. I got the drill, the cleaver, the katanas, the bow staff, the nunchucks. I got a lot of weapons. Whereas in this post-patch gameplay, across all of it, I got the sai, and that was it. I think I got the bow staff once. So that was a little bit of a change, but in reality, I don't think most people are using their melee weapons very often. I think I'm probably one of the very few people who has seen melee weapons as a really easy way to grind through those to get more weapons towards my opal, because I really don't want to use sniper rifles in my chasing of the camos, and melee weapons are really easy. Throw on a podcast and just sit there and whack away. Now, overall, at the end, now is a great time for you to go do the Box Addict challenge if you haven't yet. I think there are 2 strategies you could employ to get this challenge done, and both are super easy to do and come down to just your personal preference. Make sure you download that Box Addict challenge tracker that is in the description, and I'll try to put it on screen right here for you. Go download that, give it a shot, and it should help you as you're going through to make sure that you're on track, and make sure that you know if you're sitting there and you're questioning, okay, am I making progress? You can just very easily look and see, yes, I'm making progress, and that progress bar will just hopefully put your mind at ease a little bit. So your first option is to play directed mode. I recommend getting to round 11 because round 11 is the easiest to get to. It requires you to do almost nothing but get to Pack-a-Punch. If you want to progress a little bit faster, you might go further. You might try to get to round 15. I found round 15 is a pretty nice place to do this training method as well. But I would get to round 11. I would grind camos on 1 or 2 weapons until you have enough cash built up to where I would say you probably need, well, post-patch I'm not quite sure. I would say if you have 100,000 to 300,000, you're probably in a good spot. But the nice thing is if you have a lot of time to play, you can just keep killing a little bit more. So you can go through and do that. Downside is that you only get 34 zombies per round. So you'll have to point build for quite a while. And remember, if you save and quit, you have to start all over. You have to clear out the checklist. In order to clear it out really easily, click in that upper corner like you can see on your screen. Click so you highlight the whole thing. Hit the spacebar twice and it'll clear out all of those checkboxes for you. Now your other option, just play a standard game and play until you have enough points to where you can hit the box over and over again. This method is going to be slightly more fun, I think, because you get to progress through the rounds. It's a little bit more challenging. There's a little bit more of a will I beat it, will I not? So this is what I would personally do if I were able to do the challenge right now. I would play standard mode and I would build up those points, save and quit, and then wait for a time when I have a chance to play for a good length of time without my son waking up and having to go change a diaper or having to do chores around the house. And I think that would be a little bit more interesting. But to all that said, I completed this in the directed mode because pre-patch it was miserable to even think about doing it in standard, and I wanted to complete the challenge. There's nothing wrong with that. Both ways are totally valid, and you should just get the challenge done. It's a lot of fun. Now, all of this I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to talk about this stuff, and if I need to make another video explaining more in depth, let me know. This has been SpikeBeat Gaming. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment and let me know if you have already earned the Box Addict challenge and what your experience was with it. Do you enjoy these types of challenges, or would you like more challenges focused around gameplay? I feel like BO6 has been a really great balance of challenges, where there's stuff that is pretty easy, low-hanging fruit that you can kind of get at, and there's those bigger challenges that take quite a bit longer to complete. I think it's been a really good balance in my opinion. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see tested here in Zombies or over in Warzone or multiplayer even. I'm starting to get back into multiplayer just a little bit, and I'll see what I can do about testing it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.